The media cannot stop hating VR for just 1 second. Just this week, several articles came out slandering VR and showing their ignorance when it comes to VR. One even claiming that headsets like the Quest 2 are expensive, addictive, and dangerous. Outside of that, we have some new info on 2 of VR's biggest games that will be coming out this year, as well as a full list of new VR games coming out this month. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about some Oculus Quest news real quick. But first, this video is sponsored by me. I'm constantly designing and adding new designs to my clothing line at merch.virtualpandavr.com. For every item sold, I will donate $1 to Saving Pandas. Last month, I sold 2 items, so we rounded up to a $10 donation. Even better, I just reduced prices on everything, so if you're interested in some cool VR and panda-inspired clothes, check that out at the link below. Oculus integration for Unity just got an update that includes a beta release of a spectator camera. The first-person view we get in VR can be nauseating to watch with all of the head shaking, and for a long time people have complained about it not being a good medium to really show what VR is all about. Some games might start offering a third-party view available through the Oculus app. This will allow your friends or audience, if you're streaming, to see what your VR character and space around you look like, as opposed to seeing through the first-person view. They'll even be able to switch between that view and the first-person view and move around your character to see other parts in the environment. This feature is in beta, but expect it to be released on some apps in the near future. Not all native Quest apps will support it, as it does impact performance significantly as you're rendering that extra view of the game, but for games that are optimized enough to offer this different view, it'll be pretty cool. In other Oculus news, Mark Zuckerberg admits that they're following the age-old strategy of console makers to subsidize their consoles a bit up front to hope that they make more profits from app sales. He says that's going to be more of their plan in VR and AR. This seems to suggest that it just wasn't their plan previously, but that it also is going to be more of their plan. They're going to do even more of this strategy in the future. Personally, I would love to see a $200 headset, but honestly, I think $300 is still a steal right now. I can't imagine them going much cheaper than that considering all the components that go into it, but it is nice to know that they plan to continue this strategy with future headsets. I'm curious to see how they'll price the rumored Quest 2 Pro if that comes out later this year or next year. Alright, so now this one I gotta get off my chest. VR is often misunderstood by the regular media, who often have very bad opinions based on false information or who straight up demonstrate horrible abuse of VR hardware. And yet again, we have another article, in fact a series of articles this week, and this one specifically by Tech Radar. Now this really gets to me. The latest PSVR showcase proved VR is for everyone. Now, the showcase featured many upcoming games that we were already excited for, such as Sniper Elite VR, After the Fall, more about both those games in a second by the way, Wanderer and Puzzle Bubble, and a couple other PSVR exclusives. Basically, there's such a diverse range of games, and a few of which, like Winds and Leaves, are only coming to PSVR, and because of that, because of those exclusive games, Tech Radar has now declared, all thanks to PSVR, PlayStation VR, we now have proof that VR is for everyone. Except it already was for everyone. I can't tell you how many 60-year-olds I've run into playing Population 1 or how many grandmas I've seen in the Oculus Quest Facebook group asking for help on how to set up Oculus Link with their brand new gaming PC they just bought, or how many parents are asking for game suggestions for their children. VR has always been for everyone, and anyone with any experience in VR already knew that. PlayStation VR hasn't proven anything. Sure, PlayStation VR did spread VR more than any headset before it, but mostly to those that already had a PlayStation, meaning already gamers. Not to be a fanboy of Oculus, but it was Oculus and the Quest and Quest 2 that is now pioneering the VR to everyone of all ages. From longtime gamers to old grandpas that want to play golf and fish, PlayStation VR, and much less their gaming showcase, didn't do that. It was the game developers, and if we're being honest, mainly the Quest platform and the games on it that have already done that. I mean, think about how many Quest games there are that are like nature exploration, or like I said just a second ago, fishing and golf. VR is for everyone and always has been. PlayStation VR didn't do that. Techno Chops came out with an article asking the question, is VR worth it? And while the article does end up suggesting that VR is worth it right now, they also suggest in the same sentence that an Oculus Quest is expensive. Are you freaking kidding me? It's $300. Show me a console that's cheaper than that. As we discussed before, Oculus is subsidizing the price to make it as cheap as possible, and it might even be cheaper in the future. Not only that, but one of the cons listed in the article as a reason to not get VR is that people who use VR frequently experience feelings of worthlessness. What the actual crap? Now, I won't deny that there are probably people who use VR and who feel worthless, but how the two are connected we'll never know because this article is literally pulling this out of their ass with no sources whatsoever. Their logic is that people feel like they're escaping reality, which can be dangerous for their mental health and somehow result in feelings of worthlessness. It then goes on to say that many users become addicted to the virtual world and then struggle, get this, struggle to navigate the non-virtual world and experience many health problems as a result. Now that is a bold claim to make, so where are your sources, dude? I've not met a single person whose mental or physical health has gotten worse as a result of VR. In fact, I could probably think of dozens, if not hundreds of people whose mental and physical health have gotten better as a result of VR. Now, I'm not going to deny that there's some toxicity in games like VR chat and, staring at a fake version of yourself in a mirror can't be good for your mental health. But to suggest that this is frequent or anything more than extremely rare is absolutely ridiculous, especially with no sources. Come on, man. Like, aren't you supposed to be a journalist? Now, they're not the only ignorant news source spouting off VR nonsense. Pennsylvania News Today, a source you've probably never heard of and for good reason, spouted off nonsense in their article titled "Miss the Moment, Virtual Reality Breakouts Still Elusive." Now, I nearly had an aneurysm trying to read this article. It was full of so many grammatical errors and formatting errors that it would make any English teacher's skin crawl. After reading the article, I actually found the exact same one from AP News and a couple different sources. So I'm not sure who wrote the original piece, but in either case, it's just as narrow-minded and ridiculous. The article goes on talking about how 2020 was a great opportunity for VR to break out. It mentioned the massive sales that the Oculus Quest 2 had and then suggested that VR still hasn't broken out. I mean, sure, we're still not close to mass adoption by all consumers like smartphones or modern consoles are, but no technology is adopted that quickly. I mean, they really have the audacity to compare Half-Life Alyx sales to Animal Crossing. It's like comparing apples to oranges. But they go on to comment on their disappointment after trying Superhot, Beat Saber, and Box VR, stating that some of the experiences were fun but short-lived and overall awkward, like the headset itself was awkward to use. Now, I'm just gonna be honest, the fact that Superhot and Beat Saber are the two most well-known games is kind of upsetting because they really aren't full games. They're more like arcade experiences. To get the full experience VR has to offer, you need to jump into Saints and Sinners, Boneworks, Population 1, Half-Life Alyx, or Onward, just any of the actual fun games that people play for hours and hours on end. To try just Beat Saber and Superhot and then write off VR completely as awkward and only slightly fun, it's just pathetic. Anyways, I had to get all of that off my chest. It's ridiculous how the mainstream media is treating VR as like this niche product that will never break out. It's like, it takes time, it's breaking out. There's millions of people who now have VR and use it. So I mean, I don't know, it gets to me. Now let's talk about two of the games that I mentioned before from the PSVR showcase, and they'll also be coming to Steam and Oculus, by the way. First off, Sniper Elite VR just got their release date announced as being July 8th, just over a month from now. Now, this is a World War II game that we really needed after the disappointing tease that was Medal of Honor. In this game, you'll take on 18 missions to rid Sicily of Nazis. The game will feature the franchise's iconic X-ray kill cam and free locomotion for greater immersion, which is a big deal for me. I hate playing games on a rail. The game will be coming to Quest, but it only has single player modes, which kind of sucks. I'm a big multiplayer. Even then, I'm looking forward to getting it when it launches and playing through it on a stream or something. By the way, let me know if you guys want to see more game reviews. I haven't done very many of those, but it's just because there haven't been that many very good games that have been coming out lately. But I think this one might be a good one to do one on, so if you want to see a game review of it, let me know. Now on to the next big game that I'm excited for this year, and that's After the Fall. They just released a new trailer for the game, planned to launch sometime this summer. We don't have a specific date yet. Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, another zombie shooter. But I'm actually really excited for this one, as it was made by the developers of Arizona Sunshine, which some of you might know was my absolute favorite game when I got into VR back in 2017. What this game has that many other zombie shooters don't is a 4-player co-op, so if you prefer multiplayer experiences, this is definitely one to keep your eyes on. The gun system looks much more sophisticated compared to Arizona Sunshine, much more like the common shooters you see now, where you have to actually manually put clips in and load and etc. One other really cool aspect is that a specific type of zombie will literally pick you up by the throat and then kill you, which is not something I've seen done in VR very often, where somebody in the game actually picks you up and moves you around. It's really cool and, appeals to a very specific type of audience, if you know what I mean. No Man's Sky just got a massive performance boost update with VR-compatible DLSS. If you don't know what that is, it's NVIDIA's deep learning super sampling. Sorry AMD fanboys, this one is only for those of us carrying NVIDIA cards. That's assuming you even have a PC and aren't just on the Quest. Anyways, DLSS basically lets you run games at lower graphical settings, and then the DLSS will upscale the graphics to look absolutely amazing, but using a lot less processing power. This means even more FPS with just as good graphics. What's not to love here? And honestly, looking at these screenshots, can you even tell the difference? DLSS and similar technologies are going to be huge for VR. And you know, I'm actually really excited even more for AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution technology, or FSR. It's launching later this month, and it's basically AMD's version of DLSS. The big difference here is that FSR will be open source, meaning that unlike DLSS, it will work with literally any graphics card. This means developers will have huge incentive to support the feature in their game, as it will literally work with whatever setup you have. With DLSS, you have to have an NVIDIA card, meaning developers were less keen on adding it to the games, but FSR will change that and probably change the future of gaming, including VR, hopefully. Now, since this is the first episode of the month, let's talk about the biggest games that are coming in VR for June 2021. This is taken from Upload VR's article, so if you have a chance, show them some love by clicking on the article below and giving them a little bit of that sweet ad revenue. Stones of Harleth is a dungeon-crawling RPG with a beautiful pixelated retro art style. It really reminds me of some of the old games I used to play on my NES. In the game, you can cast spells or use a sword to fight off enemies as you make your way through the beautiful pixelated world. It's already released for Quest, with a PC release coming soon in July. Echo Arena's Battle Pass for Season 2 will be available on June 8th, offering new cosmetics for the game. Rogue Escape is an awesome looking escape room style puzzle game that looks absolutely beautiful. It will release for PC VR on June 10th, and it will have you pressing random buttons as you learn what they do and try to solve puzzles. Now, I love a good puzzle game, so I might actually have to get this one because it looks really fun. Smash Drums, which has already been available for the Quest on SideQuest and now App Lab, will now release for the Quest on June 17th. It's a lot like Beat Saber, but instead of, slicing cubes, you're actually smashing drums. It'll feature 21 songs, and you can try it now on App Lab to see if it's worth buying on June 17th. And then lastly, we have Sentenced, a game where you behead criminals. Now, this isn't just a gory, simulator like Gorn or Blades and Sorcery, but it seems to be more of a psychological game that'll explore themes of justice and human value and true sin. Now, it doesn't look like it has that much content, but if the price is cheap, it might be worth trying out if you're interested in what it would be like to live in an earlier time where public executions were common. Now, that's it for this video. Comment down below and let me know what game you're most excited for that's coming out either this month or in the future months. Let me know if I missed anything also, and thank you to my YouTube members for supporting me and making this series possible. But anyways, that's it. I'm out.